Welcome to the podcast with Lee Kimbrell. Lee is best known for being a comedian who opens for Theo on his most recent tour. This episode was super fun. We had a ton of laughs. But before we jump into it,
I gotta tell you about a merch shop that we're doing starting in a couple weeks here. We're super excited to show you our new designs. This is not our new design, this is our old design. All of it is gonna be limited quantity and it's a one-time deal. So once these designs are gone, they're never coming back again. We're also gonna be running a giveaway. I don't know, Aiden, do we wanna share it or are we not gonna share it yet?
not yet.
Okay, let's not share it yet. But we really did want to tell you guys about it because we did a ton of research into this. This has been what, 2 months in, Aiden? Yeah, 2 months in. We've been trying to figure out the most high quality product that we can sell, but not have it be $80 for a sweatshirt. So we got a few hoodies coming, a couple t-shirts, and maybe a couple other surprises. We're super excited to show you guys, but you'll have to wait a couple more weeks. For now, enjoy Lee's podcast.
So y'all do all the editing and everything yourself?
Yes, sir.
What an undertaking,
Jack
man.
does the long form, and then I do the shorts.
Oh,
So,
yeah?
get
Do
this.
like the reels and everything?
Get this, we pay to do it. We don't even get paid yet.
How fun is that?
It's been a full year of it so far.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting movement in like the whole content creation and podcasting and everything that just feels... It's really grounded it for me and given me like a lot more respect for the people who are doing it, just because any other form of being like an artist or like creating anything. I mean, dude, I did comedy. If you start comedy, man, you're doing it for basically for free.
Yeah.
For years, 6,
Yeah.
7, 8 years, not even for free, dude. You're losing money.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
You know, I mean, you're dry. Hey, there we go. Touching tips.
Touching tips.
But yeah, I mean, you're driving to these places. You're probably not making much money. You're paying for gas, you know.
Yep.
So I love it. I love the fact that you guys are, boots on the ground,
100%.
having to do it all. I mean, yeah, you've got to.
You got to start somewhere.
Spend money to make it, baby.
And I love it because we don't get paid in money, but we get paid in experiences. Like being able to travel, fly down here, hang out with cool guys.
That's
and
cool, man.
Tomorrow we got Connor too, so it's going to be... Got a fun weekend ahead.
The Connor price get is crazy.
Dude, it's been a long journey, man.
Yeah, that is really, really wild, man.
And lucky.
He's
Super
a big
lucky,
deal.
man.
Well, I mean, it's like the culmination of two things, right? Obviously, Connor seems to be like a pretty stellar guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Super cool. Yeah.
Pretty good human being.
Yep.
But then, he wouldn't have done it if he got a bad vibe off of you guys or whatever. So
Right.
yeah, that's all it is just opportunity meets. And whatever the saying is, luck is just opportunity meets good timing or something like
Yep.
that, and preparation and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it all came together nice. All right, I'm going to intro us. Welcome back to the Beyond the Spotlight podcast hosted by myself. My name is Jack.
And I'm Aiden.
Today we have Lee with us here. Welcome to the show, Lee.
What's up, boys?
Let's go. Hey.
God, what a day to get here, huh?
Dude, it's been a day. I mean, 12 hours of traveling, but we made her. We got it.
We made her, dude. We're here.
Shout out to the Red Bicycle for having us in here, man. Last minute. Called them yesterday, actually.
Called
them yesterday.
I was so curious as to how we ended up here at a closed coffee shop in Franklin, Tennessee, man.
We got canceled on at our previous, so they, last minute, they hooked it up. Shout out them. Shout out also to Appy Hour, Brushmark Signs, Giant Snacks.
And all Sagar meats.
The whole crew,
And Giant
man.
Snacks, man. They got it hooked up. Shout
I
out
saw
to
the
those
happy
guys.
hour, man. Already in the game, getting the sponsors and
Hell
everything,
yeah.
dude. That's the
Absolutely.
move. Simply must.
Absolutely. All right, today's guest is a rising stand-up comedian originally from Kentucky, now touring nationally and opening for big names like Theo Von. With relatable humor and viral comedy specials, he's bringing his humor and energy to audiences across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Lee Kimbrell.
Let's go, boys.
Let's go.
Man.
Let him hear it.
Thank you.
Let him hear it on Broadway down in Nashville. Let's make some noise,
making a boy
dude.
feel special, man.
Those are your well-known highlights. Now let's get beyond the spotlight. How's it going today?
Today has been a good day, man. We were talking about it a little bit before the cameras went on, but no, since you guys first saw me in Fargo,
Yes, sir.
at the Fargo Dome, my life it's wonderful. It is way different. My wife is over like 31 weeks pregnant tomorrow.
Let's go.
So yeah, she's
Yeah.
deeply pregnant, and we've got a little baby on the way, which means a lot has changed.
Yeah.
It for the better, you know. It wasn't an accident. This was the goal.
Yeah.
We wanted a baby. I've always wanted to be a dad. That's kind of always been a dream of mine, and now it's upon us, and it's upon me, and it's thrilling, man.
Have you found out
Absolutely.
is it a girl or a boy?
It's a girl.
Wow.
Girl dad.
Yes,
There we
dude.
go.
Little Francesca.
Is that-
we're gonna name her?
Wow, that's cool. You already
I
got the
know.
name. That's
yeah,
cool,
We're
yeah.
gonna name her Francesca because a baby's like it's like a pet where they've got a million names.
Yeah.
You start off with a cat named whatever, and then by 10 years later, he goes by a completely different name. So, so Francesca's perfect because it's Frankie, it's
There you go.
Franny, it's Fran, it's Frenchie, it's Chessie. There's a million names.
Yep.
And my wife's Italian, so I can get away. Old Kentucky can get away with a daughter named Francesca.
That reminds me of Cars, Francesco.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that?
I do. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay, so we normally get super deep in your story, but before we go in through your story, how was that Fargo show for you? Talk about that.
Oh man, that Fargo show was awesome because, up in that part of the country where it's so big and giant and vast, and the landscape is much bigger than like the population of people that live there.
100%. Yeah.
So I like going and doing comedy there just because they don't see a ton of
Anybody,
it.
man.
They don't see
Yeah.
a ton of it. There's not a lot of acts stopping through Fargo. Unfortunately, it's such a cool part of the country. But I don't know. The people just seem very gracious and excited. And stand-up is a little bit different than, say, like a concert or something.
Yeah.
Because, you sit down and you're at a Connor Price show or whatever, and you pretty much know how to interface with it. You're an audience member, maybe you rap along, maybe you dance, maybe you just kind of bob your head. But stand-up is weird because it's kind of like awkward for everyone at first.
Yeah.
And the bigger the space, the kind of stranger it is. Like comedy is at its core, low ceilings, dark, shoulder to shoulder, kind of like a weird, intimate space.
Maybe like 20 or 30 people or something
20
like
or
that.
30 or 200 in a space that should hold $1.75 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then those getting to open up for Theo is so cool because then you just zoom it out to a million times that. I mean, the Fargo Dome was so big that I woke up that morning on the bus because the lifestyle of going out on one of those tours is really cool because you wake up on a bus and then you just have all day to kill exploring a new city. You do the show, then you go to bed on the bus while it's barreling down the interstate, and then you just wake up in a new city.
Yeah.
So normally I'll wake up on the bus and rub my eyes or whatever, and then you look out the window and you're behind some theater or some arena. Maybe you see a sports field or something. But the Fargo Dome, I woke up on the bus and it was like, 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was pitch black. And I go, where are we? And I look outside, and the Fargo Dome's so big that we just parked in. We just pulled in.
Oh, in the Fargo
The bus
Dome.
was behind the stage.
Oh,
Dang,
The bus
that's
was behind the stage.
crazy.
There were 3 tour buses and 2 semi-trucks in the Fargo Dome.
No way.
I got a picture. I'll show it to you. Maybe
Yeah.
you can even throw it on the
Yeah.
video. But like, dude, a gigantic tour bus, 50
Yeah.
feet long, 12 feet wide, and it
Inside
looked
the
like a
freaking
Hot Wheels. It took up no space.
Yeah.
So that Fargo Dome was wild, just because, it was. I would venture to say, both because of like the nature of where Fargo is, and kind of Theo's fan base, who are largely podcast fans, not necessarily like traditional stand-up fans. I would say that 80%, maybe 70% of the people that were at that show tonight or that night in Fargo had never seen a live stand-up comedy show,
Yeah.
much less a show of that magnitude and
Sure.
size. So I walked out there, and I was the first comedian that a lot of those people ever saw. And it's just such
Yeah.
a fun thing to like break the ice and get everybody kind of involved and get the first couple laughs going and break the fourth wall a little bit and be like, hey, hello, everybody. What do you think this is going to be, you know?
And if you don't get like the laugh you're looking for, you can just be like, oh, I thought that was funny. Or like you can just like talk to the crowd.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely like, because going up first at a comedy show, whether you're at the Fargo Dome or just a comedy club, the first spot is you're hosting. It's a host spot. So you go up and, you're just kind of letting everybody get comfortable in their seats, maybe, you know, go out, grab a beer, come back in the middle of my set, whatever it is. It's obviously a great thing. It was a huge opportunity for me to showcase some of my jokes, showcase who I am, but it was important to remember that, like, I was there kind of in service of the show.
Sure.
Everyone there bought the Theo Von ticket. They got a babysitter. Maybe they Ubered there or paid for parking, went to dinner before. Everybody, it's not a cheap evening, you know?
Yeah.
So that was really grounding to me to remember to just kind of go out there. It's not my special fun show. It feels special, and it is. I'm not downplaying it, but like, it was nice to just go out there and remember I am of service of this show.
Sure.
I need to do my role for my 12 to 15 minutes to make this as good as I can. And no, the Fargo show in particular was fun, just because of the sheer size of the space.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
massive.
Like,
it's huge.
It's like it's so bizarre. I do comedy here at Zany's down in Nashville. And if I'm up on stage, I could lean down to the front row and like grab someone's chicken tender, or, you know, or mess up their hair.
Yeah, you're not even close.
But at the Fargo Dome, bro, it's so crazy. Like, yeah, you look up to the nosebleeds, and you're like, man, those people are 1,000 feet away from me. You know?
I do have a question about that because that space is so big. Can you hear when people are laughing?
That's a good question, and you can. It's just a little bit slower, and it's not like the same kind of immediate gratification that you get at a club.
Yeah.
You know? It's like you can hear it, you just kind of have to put it on a different rubric.
You have to like wait for for them to start laughing.
Yeah, just like how sound travels a little bit. And you have to wait, and you don't want to like step on your joke too much or step on your laugh.
Yeah.
It's like a part of comedy is it's like you're so anxious initially when you're first coming up that it's like when you get a full room of people to laugh, you're kind of so excited that you're like, all right, let me just say the next thing that's going to make them laugh. When really the thing that you need to do as a more seasoned comic is just kind of sit in it and let them laugh. Maybe like, it's so crazy. You can add on to a laugh by just like raising an eyebrow, you know, tilting a head.
I think Shane Gillis does that a lot. That kind of thing. Exactly.
You know,
it's perfect.
There's so many laughs to get in the silence. And then the arena shows are just, it's a whole different beast, man. I've said this a couple times, but like, I felt when you're doing because I mean, I think the Fargo Dome was like 10,500 people
insane.
or something.
Yeah.
And you feel, especially in the host spot, I felt way more like Joel Osteen than I did like a stand-up comedian, you know?
Who's Joel Osteen?
Joel Osteen is he's like a big giant televangelist preacher.
Okay,
you know, like who like, you know, he's got a church down in Houston that seats 30,000 people or whatever.
Gosh,
it's just a whole different
mega
energy.
Church. Yeah,
you're just I mean, the stage is 150 feet long. There's 2 jumbotrons on either side of you, 30 feet tall. It's a trip, man.
And you're like a normal guy who's going into these huge, like, does that intimidate you when you see that?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a performer. You've done it before.
I know what you mean, but yes, normal guy in the sense that, I don't sell those tickets in Fargo, you know?
Sure.
I think that the fact that I am kind of anonymous, I kind of use that is like an advantage, actually.
Sure.
Because the bar, there's really not much expectation. Everyone's there to see Theo. Going back to what I was talking about earlier, most people at those shows aren't traditional stand-up fans. They haven't been to a bunch of stand-up comedy shows. most people thought that the show was going to start and Theo was going to walk out.
Yeah.
So when I walk out, the bar is set at nothing. Like there's not, and I'm not like putting myself down or anything, but I'm saying it's like when the expectation is that low, all you can do is exceed it.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to downplay you. I meant normal guy.
No,
Yeah.
I don't feel downplayed.
Yeah.
In that scenario, I'm as normal, for lack of a better term, of a guy as you could be.
Sure.
You know?
Anyone would be like, dude.
Fully anonymous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had so many people coming up to me after the shows and being like what you, dude, no offense, but like I didn't know who you were before this. And I'm like, dude, why would you? It would be weird if you did know who I was at this point in my career, you know?
Yeah.
But
I think being a comedian is one of the hardest jobs. You literally have to make thousands. Well, if you get to that level, you got to make thousands of people laugh, like, which is not easy to do, you know?
And
I don't
everyone
know.
has a different humor. And
Yeah.
no doubt. But it's, I don't know, at least there's, when people show up to a comedy show, whether it's at the Fargo Dome or at a comedy club or at a bar,
Yeah.
I do them at coffee shops, you do comedy shows everywhere. At least the context of the whole scenario is laughter.
Yeah.
You know, so that does make it a little bit easier. Now, sometimes that doesn't mean that every comedy crowd shows up ready to laugh.
Yeah.
Every show is so wholly unique just because every audience is just this amalgamation of all these individuals who have had good days, bad days, you know, maybe a couple got in a fight on the way to the show. Maybe
Yeah.
a guy lost his job earlier that day. And people bring their moods, people bring their baggage to the show.
Yeah.
And you got to go up there and try to crack through it. And then sometimes it's just fire where everyone kind of shows up and it's Saturday night and they're like, all right,
We're ready to
I'm here
laugh."
for this.
Yeah.
You know, and you just kind of got to ride that wave. That's the host's, that's the opener's job, is to ride
Warm 'em
that
up.
wave and kind of figure out where we are, what's the temperament of this room. And, you know, the Fargo show was fun, but sometimes you go into those big, huge, giant rooms and people are it's kind of awkward, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like if I go up on stage and say something off color or what someone deems offensive and they don't like it, but then the person 2 seats down, by laughing really hard, you're like signing off on saying, I think that's okay. And then people get in their heads about what they're signing off on. And
Oh, sure.
no, it's
Yeah.
it's fascinating. Every show
Yeah.
is completely unique and different.
All right, we jumped so far ahead, but
Yeah, no.
So you grew up in Kentucky, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So talk a little bit about that and what made you get into comedy in the first place.
Yeah, grew up in Lexington, Kentucky. Where
Small town, big town.
It is a college town.
Okay.
But it is it's where the University of Kentucky is, the Wildcats. It's
Okay.
where they are. It is a horse town, so that it's deemed itself the horse capital of the world. So that is it's also like one of the bourbon capitals of the world.
Okay.
So it's an interesting little town. I wouldn't call it small. It's certainly not big. There's 6 public high schools.
Okay.
You know, so it's like a decent size. I would say probably like, 250,000 people.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure,
but
sure,
it,
sure.
yeah, it's like a big little town.
So
you
how
know?
did you get into comedy? Is there like a good comedy scene in that area, or?
There is one of the better clubs in the country there.
Really?
That it's called Comedy Off Broadway in Lexington. Just an old classic club. Been there since like the late '80s, and you know any comic that you can think of went through there. I'm headlining there September 18th.
Let's
Coming
go.
up, yeah, baby, let's go.
Yeah,
The
hometown, man.
show is always a blast.
Have you done that before or no?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
At
okay.
Comedy Off Broadway, they've had me a couple times, which is nice.
Hell yeah.
I started comedy. I was a teacher. I used to be a teacher.
Really?
Yeah, I was a high school teacher. So graduated from UK in I guess 2013. Moved up to Cincinnati, and I was teaching. And you know, like a lot of people feel when they get their first, whatever you want to call it, big boy job or real job or whatever, you just kind of get this. Well, I mean, you guys get it. You're starting a podcast because you don't want a real job.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when you start that first real job, it's like you get this tightening in your chest and you're like, holy crap. Is it just
man.
this for 40 years and then I retire? And I could have been completely happy doing that, but I just, like you guys, bit of a dreamer, always wanted to do something different, something cool or whatever, and always liked stand-up, loved it. That was kind of when the podcast world started going.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when like Bill Burr's Monday Morning Podcast was popping off. That's when Rogan was first really taking off. It was, nowhere near where it is today, but he would just have comedians on. And Pete Holmes had a podcast, You Made It Weird. So Mark Maron, I'd listen to all these podcasts of comedians talking about being comedians.
While you were teaching? Or
While I was teaching.
Sure.
And I'm just like, it's one of those gigs that you never consider.
Yeah.
You're just like,
As a career.
Yeah,
kind
no,
of.
you don't ever ask a kid, what do you want to do? I want to be a comedian.
very
Like, not like-
rarely.
yeah.
Very rarely. It seems like one of those kind of like odd, unattainable gigs. How do you even start?
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to start. And so I was up in Cincinnati teaching, listening to all these podcasts, watching all this stand-up. Netflix had just started releasing specials and stuff like that. So I just started writing, and it was like a scene from a movie. I drove home to Lexington to visit my mom and dad, and they had a piece of junk mail on their kitchen table from Comedy Off Broadway. It was a brochure, and I opened it up, and in like the big zigzag, like red pow, like Batman pow thing, it just said open mic night.
No way.
So I called up the club and I signed up for it. And February 2nd, 2016, I drove from Cincinnati down to Lexington and did my first open mic.
Let's go.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. So
It's like fell right into place.
it
was
really
meant
did.
to happen.
It really did. And then very thankfully, I was living in Cincinnati, being a teacher. And so I went back up to Cincinnati where I was living and working and searched Cincinnati stand-up comedy on Facebook. And there was a whole group, and there were open mics just about every night of the week.
Wow.
And that's where I came up for almost a decade doing comedy in Cincinnati and some of my best friends. And yeah, it was a perfect little spot, man.
Things were just getting good.
But don't worry, we'll be right back after a few ads. Proudly made in Wapaton, North Dakota, Giant Snacks has been roasting bold flavors since 1995.
From sunflower seeds and pistachios, pumpkin seeds, and cashews, every bite packs that real flavor.
Whether you're at the ballpark, on the road, or just need a pick-me-up,
Snack like a giant with American-grown seeds and nuts.
look for their new logo, the white bison, on the front of their products, and that's how you'll know it's a Giant Snack.
Visit giantsnacks.com or visit a local convenience store to find Giant Snacks.
I just got a notification from Appy Hour. It says tacos and margs are calling. You want to go get some tacos?
What's Appy Hour?
All the bars and restaurants in the area are on it, and they send me notifications when they're having good deals. They even have like a countdown so you know how long you have until that deal ends.
So like real-time deals?
Exactly, real-time deals, that's what it is. Also, they have a map where it shows all the locations that Appy Hour is used, so you know where the best deals are gonna be happening at. Get it on the way though, because I'm hungry.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
So you pretty much just learned off of your online videos and stuff, because it's not like there's a school for comedy.
No.
You can't just go to a school, learn how to be a comedian.
No.
So you just kind of worked your way from little bars and just kind of kept going?
Yeah, man. There's no real blueprint other than you just have to do it.
Sure.
Were you doing both, like teaching and...
It only overlapped for like 5 months.
Okay, because you can't make money right away off being a comedian, I'm
Oh,
sure.
definitely not.
So that's where I'm like, how
Oh,
can
no.
you try and transition without making much money?
Well, it's like anything else, man. If you really love to do something and you want to make a career out of it,
yeah.
I mean, much to mom and dad's chagrin and your bank account chagrin, you can't truly be that concerned about money up front.
It's true.
You know, you really
Yeah.
can't. I mean,
Yeah.
y'all hopped on a plane from Minnesota and came down here and brought all this stuff. It's like you're not turning a profit on this Nashville deal. Far from it.
We're having fun.
Yeah, no, but it's great, and it's obviously money.
It's an investment kind of for like the
That's
future.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
It's exactly what it is. And with comedy, man, you just have to get in. There is no, like you said, no class, no blueprint. There is no other way to do it other than just get up on stage as often as you can. Try to surround yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah.
You know, you got to find people who want the same things that you want, and just fully jump into the deep end, you know?
So
Yeah.
you started doing these little gigs. When was like a good turning point from you when you realized, geez, I can make this a full-time career? Like, was it people starting to reach out to you saying, hey, I want you to come and do a show for
Sure,
us?
yeah.
Or was it like you met some people and it kind of opened opportunities spread from that?
Well, for me, it would be so I moved up to Cincinnati, like I was saying, I was teaching. And then, so that was February, March, April, May, June. So 5 months, school let out. And I moved back home to Lexington to save some money on rent because I wasn't working because I was a teacher. And I moved back in with mom and dad for the summer. And not to bring it down, but just how it all went. My Nana, that lady right there, my grandmother, she was sick at the time. So I had made up my mind that I wasn't going to go back to Cincinnati until I'd seen her through to the end.
Yeah.
And we thought that she would, you know, perhaps live until like January of 2017. And she passed away in August 21st of 2016 or 2015. And I didn't have a job renewed back up in Cincinnati, and I didn't want to stay in Lexington. And I had been doing this stand-up for like 5 months, 6 months, and I really loved it. And Cincinnati had the
Atmosphere
the
for it?
infrastructure and the atmosphere.
yeah,
You
yeah.
could get up every night. There were a couple clubs, you know. Go Bananas Comedy Club is where I came up. I got another little guy right there, that
yeah.
little banana. So to your question, I got a job at Go Bananas Comedy Club. I worked the door. I cleaned the bathrooms. I, was a server. I was a fry cook. I did everything at that club, and just seeing professionals come in Thursday through Sunday every
Yep.
week, watching it, seeing the different levels of what careers could be. There's a ton of comics out there who you don't know their names, and you probably never will, who make about as much as a teacher does every year,
Yeah, absolutely.
But hey, man, they're living the dream,
Yeah.
They don't got a real job. Their days are free. Their nights are fun. So
Yeah.
really seeing that's my answer, is just seeing that it's like, it ain't just fledgling open micer or Theo Von selling out the Fargo
That's
Dome.
true, yeah.
There's a million different levels. It's a huge spectrum of a career that you could make. So when I realized that, I was like, well, then I could just ride this out and try to, continue to get better and ingratiate myself to the right people and keep living right.
Yeah.
And then this could work out,
You don't have to be top 10 biggest comedian
No.
in the U.S. to be able to make a living.
You really
off of doing
don't.
it. Yeah,
And
that's
now-
a good way to think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
The
And
same
now
thing with podcasting and everything,
100%.
too. Yeah.
There's a great comedian and podcaster named Greg Fitzsimmons, and he talked about the rule of 1,000. And it's kind of changed a little bit with social media, and the valley has gotten a little bit wider. It is harder to just kind of be the everyman, working man, podcaster or comic, right? But it's still available. But the rule of 1,000 is, if you can get 1,000 people in America, or I guess across the world, but specifically where you live, if you can get 1,000 people that like you enough that over the course of a year, they'll spend $100 on you. Whether it's a ticket or some merch or just whatever it is, that's 100 G's, man.
Yep.
Wow.
And that kind of boiled it down to where I was like, oh, that's so achievable.
Yeah, that's a very livable
That's so
income,
well, I
like-
got 150 in my back pocket already just from my buddies and back home
Absolutely.
in Lexington.
Yeah.
Like I can do that. I do these shows in Lexington at Comedy Off Broadway, and it's like my 5th grade teachers come.
That's amazing.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
that made it seem way more attainable than just kind of the impossible nature that it feels like
Right.
it is.
So how long have you been doing comedy then?
So this February will be a decade, 10 years.
10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, started in
Wow.
February 2nd, 2016.
What did
Yeah.
that
On the
look
road.
like? How did you meet? How did you get in contact with Theo? How did that work?
Just really, we were talking about before up top, just like good luck and then being prepared at the time. Him and his tour manager had just gotten together, and it was coming out. It was September of 2021, and he had just transitioned because he really popped over COVID, right?
Yeah.
Theo was doing well. He had a great career, but he was like down in this middle tier that we were talking about earlier. You know, he wasn't the Theo Von that we know today.
Yeah.
They had, because of all of the traction that he had gained over the pandemic and over lockdown, he had just transitioned over to big venues. He was doing like 2,000 to 3,000 seat theaters. And he rolled up to Cincinnati, Ohio, where I was living at the time. And him and his tour manager were just kind of like ill prepared. They didn't know what this world was like of these big giant venues. And they rolled up day of without enough openers, and just got on Instagram and were looking around Cincinnati comedy and asked around. And I woke up, dude, it was so funny. I woke up at like 11:30 in the afternoon. I had just moved into a house and had planned on all day scrubbing the floor and like the baseboards and getting it clean. So I woke up late. The sun was coming through my window, and I looked at my phone, and it was a DM from him. And I was like, this is a prank. There's no, like, I didn't even like answer back because I was like, this is spam. This is a scam or some sort. And no, but they got back to me, and I was like, hell yeah, of course.
That's insane.
And went down to the venue and had never done anything like that. It was 2 shows in one night, 2,500 seat venue. And I mean, I was doing 8 minutes up top. Had to go first and open the show.
Yeah, were you prepared?
I was prepared in the sense of like that I had 8 minutes that I like.
Okay.
And prepared in the sense that I was, anytime that you take on some big lofty dream goal type thing, like a career in podcasting or stand-up, it's like, you do kind of have to be delusional, you know?
100%.
You have to
Yes,
be. It's
I
like,
completely agree.
You have to teeter the line between like crippling self-doubt and like hating yourself. And then on the other side of that, you have to be full on delusional.
Yeah.
To be like, boys, let's hop on a plane, fly to Tennessee.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
that's delusion. But you do just kind of have to believe in yourself,
Yep.
as corny as that sounds. So it's like, I mean, yeah, I was prepared in the sense that I was like, thought that I could pull that off, you know?
How'd it go?
Yeah, it went well. It went well enough.
Then you did
that
it.
You
You
saw
pulled it
me in
off.
Fargo,
Yeah.
you know? And it was fun because, Theo and I hit it off fine, but it's not like we didn't sit down and break bread and have dinner right off the bat. He was very pleasant to me,
Yeah.
but he didn't think that I would be around, you know, for a couple years after that. But me and his tour manager hit it off pretty well. He had spent some time in my hometown, Lexington, Kentucky. His manager, he opened a bar that I frequent in a lot in
No way.
college. So it was just, you know, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. Lexington. Oh, I opened up Tin Roof. I go, no way. Do you know Michaela and Audrey and Moncel and all these guys? So there for like a couple years, I would just look at the Vaughn schedule, and if they were within a reasonable drive, I would just hit them up and be like, hey, man, let the kid eat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then they kept
Yep.
doing it and just kept bringing me on. And then eventually we all became pretty close friends. And
I feel like that tour has been going on for so long.
yeah, the return of the Rat Tour. The return of the Rat Tour, the never ending tour.
That's
man.
not the same. So it was a couple of years ago that you.
Yeah, so the first
Linked up?
time that I ever did a show was September of 2021 with him.
Okay.
And then, you know, I think I did like 1 or 2 a year there until like 2023, but in 2024 I did probably about 70% of the tour, and then in 2025
Nice.
I've done every show.
I bet
That's
you
so
that's
cool,
grown
dude. Yeah.
you.
Yeah, oh
too.
my god.
Like
oh
you're
yeah, dude.
just
yeah.
and watching that grow is probably just awesome.
Well, it's so hard because it's like trying to get any growth at all, it feels really futile sometimes. And then it's a good thing and a bad thing. Like with social media and the followership, there is this graspable, quantifiable number
Yeah.
of the followers.
Yep.
Where it's like there are some guys out there with 5,000 followers, but a ton of heat. And all 5,000 of those people are like fully invested.
Yep.
And, you know, but there's a difference between a guy who has 60,000 followers because one thing popped off and
Yeah.
people kind of passively followed,
Yep.
but they're not really a part of it, you know?
100%.
So, yeah, watching that follower count tick up after a show like Fargo, yeah, you pick up 300-400 followers in one night, and then that feels great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels really, really nice.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. So you've done all of them so far.
In 2025, yeah.
How many shows is that? It's got to be a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like 25 or 30.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, a lot of guys will go on a tour and they'll say, I'm going on a nationwide tour over 3 months. I'm hitting 60 cities, and they're just gone the whole time. And then I'm glad that Theo doesn't do it like that.
Sure.
He's a bit of a homebody, and he'll bust it out, 4 or 5 shows at a time.
Sure.
And you leave on a Wednesday and you get back on a Monday morning or a Sunday night or something like that. So it's nice.
Kind of helps for you when you have other stuff. Obviously, your wife.
100%,
And
yeah.
then your other stuff, your podcast.
Yeah.
He has his podcast too.
Yes.
You got to film that at some point.
Yeah, I know.
But-
And it's like the Theo show is obviously a huge blessing. Help the bank account, help some of the exposure, and just, I mean, the coolest experience ever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, the name of the game is and it sounds so vain, but ultimately I have to build my own name and my
Yeah.
own brand and everything. So you can't be too attached to the other guy, So it has been very nice to, I get up here at Zany's in Nashville a couple times every week, and then just go
So
out.
you're still performing quite often.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Doing your
100%.
own stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
100%. Yeah,
So
for
are you
sure.
flying when you travel? Like Fargo, you're not driving to Fargo, obviously, right?
No, we flew in for that one.
Do you fly most places?
Well, if I'm doing my own gigs, I guess it really depends on where I'm going, you
Okay,
know?
yeah.
I mean, I feel comfortable flying now, just money-wise, you
Yeah.
know? But, I mean, dude, the first 6-7 years of comedy, man, you're driving, brother. Oh, yeah, you're driving and doing shows, sometimes just for gas money, if
Yeah.
you're lucky, you know?
Or if you're flying, you're losing money.
100%.
100%.
If you're flying, you're like treating yourself.
Yeah.
You're kind of like like feeding your ego a little bit, sitting in that middle seat of a Spirit flight, being like, God, I'm the man, you know.
100%.
But no,
Or Sun
you're-
Country.
Yeah, exactly. Road dogging it hard, man.
100%.
I drove from Cincinnati to Austin, Texas. It's like 17, 18 hours. That was a great thing about Cincinnati is that it was so central. You know,
Sure.
You draw a 6-hour circle around Cincinnati. You're
You got a lot of spots to perform.
everywhere, dude.
Yeah, that's
you're,
awesome.
You're in like every mid-sized Midwest or Southern town in the country.
So what's like your next goal then? Do you want to continue to keep opening, or do you want to start, like you said, you got to get your own name, but
Yeah.
what does that roadmap look like for you?
It's a good question,
it
man.
unknown?
Yeah, well, it's like you do need to be a little bit intentional with your goal setting, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to turn down any opening gig, you know? I opened for another guy named John Christ, who's here in Nashville.
Okay.
And he does big venues. He does theaters. He's not playing the Fargo Dome, but he would play the theater there in town.
Sure.
And those are fun just because it's like stand-up is something that you can't really rush. You know,
Yep.
You do kind of have, and I'm not just being like complacent and lazy and giving myself too much of a break, but like you do kind of have to give several pounds of flesh and time, and you kind of got to eat a mountain of shit, you know, because it's like if you were to pop overnight, something happens, right? I go on Theo's podcast, and then every clip of mine on my podcast starts going viral. If that happened 5 years ago, and then some agency was like, all right, Kimbrell, you're our guy. Let's get you out on the road. And then you go out on the road and the act's not good, then there's no shelf life, you know? There's no
100%.
longevity in that. So I guess my goals would just be to just continue to like keep writing and keep getting up as much as I can so that when my opportunity comes, and I know that it will, I'm prepared and I'm ready and I can like answer that bell.
Yeah,
and, you know,
100%.
and go with it. And I mean, life is about to change heavily with this baby,
Yeah.
you know? So I'm going to need to kind of pick and choose a little bit more. It's like
What's important to you? What do you want to do?
100%. And I want to be there for my daughter and I want to be there for my wife. And obviously I want to provide for them
Right.
financially, which means I will need to be on the road. And then I will need to figure out how, like, what's the middle ground, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be gone 4 or 5 weekends a month.
Right.
I don't want to be gone 2 weeks out of every month. You know, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to be a father and a husband. And so, yeah, the next goal would just be don't falter from what I'm doing right now and trust the process. And, keep growing my podcast and keep growing my act and make sure that it's good because eventually it will pop, you know?
100%.
Eventually, you just have to have faith in that.
Yeah.
And like you said, with if you went on Theo's podcast, got a bunch of views overnight. I've said this and I've heard it for a long time. It's like the quicker you rise, the quicker you fall. It seems like
It's a good
lot
line.
of people
It's a good line.
You grow 100,000 followers, they don't actually like you. They love that one video and then it drop or could, you know what I mean?
Or they
Could
fall
be
in
like
love
that.
with you for one thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, because you're a human man, you are a multitude of things.
Yeah.
And then that's why the slow rise is the move.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, I'll take 1,000 people who really ride with me over the course of 5 years than 1,001 night.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
that's what it
100%.
is. It's all about longevity,
Yeah.
you know, shelf life.
Yeah.
That's the thing that gives me, you were talking about anxiety earlier. It's like the thing that like really clutches my heart is just like continuing to be relevant and creative and good and earning for the next quarter century.
Yeah.
That's daunting. To
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
That is daunting.
I kind of want to know what the behind the scenes of this comedy looks like because I have no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what does writing look like? Are you sitting down like in your bed, like trying to figure out what to talk about the next day, or like what does that look like? And it can't be the same every time, of course.
No, it's not the same every time for me, and it's certainly not the same every time, or it's certainly not the same like across the board. You know, I mean, I'm a big walker. I like
Okay.
getting my steps in. I find myself, if I can get up and get out in the sun and beat up some pavement or walk on some grass, that'll help me a lot. If I have like a show coming up, like I've been writing a lot as far as like you just characterized it, as far as like sitting down, cracking up a laptop or a notebook and just starting from zero and being like forcing yourself to write. Just be like, okay, I'm writing right now.
All right,
let's see
that
what
one was
comes
too
out.
offensive.
Yeah, or whatever it is. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, I've got my own number saved in my phone, and you're walking around and you see some lady walking down the street with a bird on her head, and you just text that to yourself real quick.
Oh, sure.
Or
Oh,
send
yeah.
yourself a little voice memo or whatever it is, and then when you sit down to consciously write, then you go back and you visit those. And
It's a good idea.
yeah, you just really are, you know, as a comedian, you're kind of just reporting back your
Experiences?
your experience and your interpretation of the world around you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like there are certainly guys who are like tacticians, scientists, mathematician type comics who just sit down and they'll write their hour and it's this set piece.
Strategic
Yeah, and you
and-
got to
yeah.
go out and work it. But I find mine to be pretty biographical. I talk about my life a lot. Like the last 6 months, I've been talking so much about this baby and this pregnancy and my lady and my mom and dad and brother and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the process is, I mean, it is fun, you know? And it's like I'm fortunate enough that I get so much stage time that it's like comedy is one of the only art forms that you can't practice unless you're doing it in front of human beings.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know,
Okay.
so you got to take a lot of L's.
Yeah.
You got to take a lot of L's.
You got to bomb a few
Yeah,
times.
truly. I
Yeah.
mean, you mentioned Gillis earlier, dude. Gillis will bomb at the mothership tonight.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like the peak of the pinnacle of the game right now. It's like if you aren't bombing every now and again, then you're not taking enough shots.
Yeah.
You're
Yep.
not taking enough chances. You're getting a little comfortable. And I mean, I've fallen into that. You know, there's nothing feels better than killing.
Yeah.
And if you got a 15-minute chunk that you know is tried and true and it's going to kill, and you drive up to Minnesota and you're like, well, I'm going to do this. It's good, and the check cashes the same, but you're kind of doing yourself a little bit of a disservice, you know?
Yeah, you can't say the same jokes for like 5-10 years straight. You gotta switch it up.
And there are guys who do that, especially back in the day, man.
Yeah, when nothing was recorded. And all
Nothing
that.
was recorded. I mean, you were just anonymous, dude. You were getting to the club, you were getting to the venue on a map. And you showed
Saying
up.
the same thing every time.
Yeah, 100%. And like, to me, that feels a little bit like purgatory.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, it is an art form at that point. I've seen there are still some salty old road dogs out in rotation right now, where if you go and see them do an hour set at a club, you just go, how is that not the most famous comedian in the world? That guy is a killer.
Yep.
And he is. But he's been, he's doing an Oprah Winfrey joke in
Sure.
2025.
Sure.
And I mean, there's merit to it, but that's just not what I want to do. And I don't really think it's what the game is anymore.
Things were just getting good.
But don't worry, we'll be right back after a few ads.
Brushmark Signs is a family-owned and operated business out of Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Their designers can create logos, banners, indoor or outdoor signs,
Digital message boards, decals, and apparel.
as well as promotional items, window tinting, and more. Guys, they literally do it all. They even ship nationwide.
Give them a call at
218-847-3599.
or visit brushmarksigns.com.
Thank you, Brushmarks. We should have like a barbecue or something around the shop.
You know, we do partner with All Sauger Meats. Let's try their new location in Fargo.
We are going to Fargo today. That would probably be good, but wouldn't it just be counterproductive to stop in Fargo when there's one in Breck right now?
That's the best part. You can get the best meat at any of their stores.
That is true, and they're open 7 days a week.
So if you're located in Ottoman, Fargo, or Breckenridge, go check out All Sauger Meats.
Or anywhere in the area. It's honestly worth the drive, you guys. Make sure you check out Allsauger. Visit allsaugermeats.com or check out a store location near you.
All Sauger Meats, your trusted source for quality and freshness.
You
Do you
know?
do much crowd work?
Yeah. I mean, not a ton, but I have opened myself up to doing it a little bit more, just because it is fun.
Yeah.
And it is in the moment.
It's on the spot. Like
It's
you gotta,
on the spot, and
Yeah.
it's really good. And it's like I characterize crowd work, like why people love it so much in the room is because it's literally an inside joke.
Yeah.
You know?
And like they're probably nervous. They're going to get picked on
100%.
next. Yeah.
Well, nothing beats a good joke, right? If you write just like some killer material that works from coast to coast and from north to south, that's what you want.
Yeah.
But like people respond so much to crowd work because if you're in the audience and you see a good piece of crowd work, or if you just see the comic on stage look down at the guy with a weird haircut and riff off that, people get a kick out of it because it's like you could have only seen that right here tonight.
Yeah.
So it is fun. I like being in the moment and in the room like that. And it does kind of lube people up a little bit to go up there within the first couple minutes of your set.
Right.
And just be right there with them, maybe comment on something in the room or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a bit of like do some comedians not like other comedians because they do certain or a lot of crowd work, or is
Sure.
that kind of a thing? I feel like there's
Yeah.
some sort of, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for.
It's like
but-
a riff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
yeah.
like resentment because like the argument would be, and I tend to, just like with anything, I kind of agree, but then ultimately nothing in this world is black or white.
Right. Yeah.
There's just multitudes in between of everything.
Yep.
The argument of like, somebody who is just lives and dies by the pen, who the reason why they might talk shit on like a Matt Rife, like a
exactly.
crowd work guy,
Yep.
is that they would say that it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And it is in theory. it's easier to go up on stage and just comment on the front row and ask everybody where they met or where they, you know, grew up or what they do for a living. That is easier, but it's not easier to do at like a high level.
100%.
Right?
And
It's
to
like-
make funny. You
and to
have
make it good.
funny.
See, that's the thing. That's why any like comic beef or any comic coming out talking smack on another comic, it's just, dude, it's just like anybody who's talking shit. It's just a projection of whatever you think your weak spots are, you know?
Sure.
It's like
Yeah.
the guy who has dedicated his whole life to the pen
Is gonna hate.
is gonna hate the guy
Yeah.
who can go up and just be like, "Pff, nice shirt," and just kill the same level.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I get why there is a riff, but ultimately it's like like a guy like Matt Rife, who is so good at doing that, just like the observational in the moment, that stuff right there.
Yep.
But it's like he's dedicated himself to getting good at that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's his thing.
Because you asked me if I do it, and it's like, it's so funny because it's like, it's one of those things, I guess just like anything, but like you can't get better at it until you start doing it.
Yeah.
And then that moment where you feel comfortable enough as a comedian, like you've written enough and you've been on stage enough because at the beginning of your career, it's like every second that you're on stage, you just covet.
Yeah.
And you're so appreciative of it. And you're so worried about it not going well that you would never in a million years think about improving and just being like going off the script because it feels like a waste of your time.
Yeah.
Or not a waste of your time, but you're scared.
Sure.
You're like, I just got this opportunity. Someone asked me to drive and do their brewery show. And am I going to spend 3 minutes of it just dicking around, like trying to work on this new skill in the utility belt? And the answer is like, yes, that is what you got to do. That is what you have to do.
Sometimes you got to go off script.
100%, man. And it is fun. I really enjoy doing it.
So we got a game for you, but before I do that, because that's the last thing we do.
All right.
But before we do that, I want to ask you about your special, because we didn't touch on that at all.
Yeah.
What's the process like of writing a special, and then just tell us a little bit about it.
Well, that one I recorded back in 2021.
Yep.
I think 2021, and then maybe it was released in 22 or like the end of 21. That one that was just like kind of a culmination of pretty much everything that I had ever written and liked.
Yeah.
Because I started in 16, so I mean, it was like 5.5 years into comedy, and it really was kind of like a reaction to the world shutting down.
Sure.
You know, because things were just heating up. I know everybody has that story about COVID.
Yeah.
It's how everybody dealt with it. Everyone was like, things are starting to go. Here we go, baby. And then it all shut down. And then in my line of work, live stand-up comedy, it was particularly hit. And
Yeah,
there
of
were
course.
there were several months there where you're just like, oh my God, like this is not a viable life choice that I have made here.
Yeah.
If they can just shut the country down and close down every venue in the country, and I am a guy who depends on large crowds of human beings in a close proximity and a sense of whimsy, then I'm screwed. You know?
Yeah.
And then, thank God, everyone came to their senses and we got ourselves out of that. And then, I was just sitting there like, oh my God, well, we're back. So now let's get something on wax. Let's put something on tape.
Yep.
And really just keep going, because if and when it shuts down again, I want to have a little something out there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was fun, and I'm proud of it, and I go back and I watch it or listen to it now, and it's just like anything. It's like in 5 years, when you go back and listen to the early episodes of this podcast, you'll be like, God, who were those young assholes? Dude?
100%.
Yeah, but like I'm proud of it. It's a good snapshot of who I was as a comic back then, and kind of who I am just as a person. Like
Yeah.
it's silly. I talk about my family. I mean, it's named after my mom and dad, Mike and Molly.
Yeah.
You know, I was also hoping that might like kind of trick the algorithm a little bit, because it's also a very famous sitcom.
I didn't even know that.
Mike and Molly, yeah, it's Yeah, it was just a sitcom that was on TV for like a decade. And so I was like, yeah, maybe if someone searches that, then they'll see mine.
Sure.
But yeah, no, it's out there. And you're talking, just to like tie in the earlier conversation to this, like it was cool to have out there because people would see me at one of these shows, a big one, because people will see me out on the road and they'll follow me on Instagram and it's great.
Yep.
And they can go and watch my special online and hear a bunch of jokes that I didn't do. But that's on a smaller scale than going out and opening for one of these huge acts where maybe, 1,000 people go home and watch it. So within the last couple of years, my special, which was taped by this production company in Cincinnati called 4x3, I think it's at like 35 or 36,000 views now.
Just keeps climbing.
And it's like this really slow burn.
Yeah.
And I hope to put one out in February.
Let's go.
That'd be awesome.
Let's go.
Yeah, I hope to
Absolutely.
put another one out in February.
If you guys want to watch the first one, I'll put it in the top corner wherever that link button is somewhere over here.
Check it out,
Dude,
man.
that first, I watched a little bit of it in doing prep for this, and that first joke about the masks and driving, and you got a little alcohol in your breath.
yeah,
that was a killer joke.
And then that
was
fun,
a killer joke.
And that's why I love it too, because it's like it is a time capsule. You
yeah,
know?
because that's COVID, dude. That's when everyone's wearing
I
masks.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep this on for my safety.
You're in the car right on the way home from the show. It's like, hey,
Thank
keep
you,
your
bro.
mask on. Yeah,
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
still acceptable then to wear masks in the car is crazy.
The car
but
mask is insane.
Yeah, dude, crazy.
a little
That
too
anyone
far.
ever did that.
Yeah, I know it. But I mean, that just shows you how bummed out and scared everybody was.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
vast amount of people, man.
Yeah, that is very funny, man. The first like 2 or 3 jokes on that special were kind of COVID related.
Yeah.
One of them was Florida fever or whatever. I went down to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
I went down to Florida
Yeah.
wearing a mask, and I walked in, and the guy was like, "Take that mask off, asshole." And I was like, "I'm gonna keep it on. I don't want to catch Florida."
Yeah, wasn't even wearing it for
Dang, man.
COVID. That's
I
awesome.
appreciate you saying that.
100%.
Thank you, man.
Great joke. All right, what is your most unusual fan interaction?
Oh, my most unusual fan interaction. I talked about it on my podcast, but on the Theo tour, we did a show in Rochester, New York.
Yep.
And I was up there, and it was a big audience, maybe like 7,500 people in like a little town in upstate New York. And in the second row, I was going up second this time, so I was doing like 20 minutes. And in the second row, there was this guy heckling me so bad.
Really?
Like, really heckling me to the point where I had to like start dealing with it. And if you're doing that at a comedy club, it makes sense because everyone in the room can kind of hear this guy being an asshole, right? But in an arena, if you just stop in the middle of your set and are like, "What are you talking about, man?" Like 7,000 people think that you're losing your mind. They can't hear that guy.
Yeah, right.
Everyone around him can hear him.
Right.
So then but also as the opener's job is to like make sure that when the headliner gets up there, in this case Theo, that dickhead's not being a dickhead.
Right.
Sure.
You know, so it was bad enough to the point where I was like, I got to deal with this. And so I dealt with it. He starts screaming, like flipping me off.
Wait, so
screaming.
was he actually being a dick or he was just yelling stuff? Like,
He was being nasty.
really?
He was being.
Why would you even
He was
go
just
to the show?
hammered.
Just yeah.
He was just hammered drunk and probably hadn't been to a show and thought
Yeah.
it was going to be Theo and it wasn't Theo. And he was just like, I mean, it was funny, like looking back, just how dumb. He was like a grown man, and I'd tell a joke, and everyone would laugh, and he would just be like, "You suck."
You jackass.
Yeah, exactly. He was hitting me with a Happy Gilmore, dude. So
That's crazy.
my ego wasn't bad enough that I wasn't too mad, but I had to get him out. So security comes, gets him out.
During your set?
Yes, I
Okay.
go, we got to get this guy out of here. So then I'm up on stage in front of everybody, just kind of like on my toes. They're escorting him out. He starts fighting the security.
Oh,
People
no.
start throwing beers on him. It's like all crazy. I get off stage, go outside with my buddy, the other opener, smoke a cigarette, and 10 seconds after we walked outside, the guys that I had just gotten kicked out, they literally got tossed out of the venue, came around the corner, and me and him are just sitting there.
Oh, no.
So that's the reason why it's the strangest fan interaction is because like we fought them, like we got in a fight. Like,
Really?
This was 2
Damn.
months ago.
Did you guys
Yeah.
win?
We did.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
They're
don't
probably
feel
drunk.
great about it. I'm not like a big fighter per se, you know.
So
but,
you just came in swinging? Or
oh,
what?
dude, came in immediately and we're just like, you sons of bitches. Blah, blah, blah. It was crazy.
Oh
yeah,
my
that one
gosh.
was
So
truly wild.
you guys just dropped them
That's
and
an
left or
unreal
what?
joke.
Pretty much. Yeah,
That's
pretty much.
amazing.
And then went back inside and they got in trouble and beat up. And then, you know,
And then
all the
you went
security
back in
guards were
and-
giving us high five.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was a wild one.
Dude,
That's awesome.
an unreal story.
Yeah.
That's an amazing.
Yeah, it's
Have
a
you
wild
thought
one.
about doing any? I don't know if that makes sense, but doing any material around that at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I told the story on my podcast, The Absolute Lee Show.
Yeah, check it out,
And,
check it out. That's a great name.
Yeah,
Absolute
isn't it?
Lee
Yeah,
Show.
I can't
Hell
take
yeah.
I can't take credit. That was all my lady.
Hell
But
yeah,
the
hell
Absolute Lee Show is a killer name.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it's perfect for like a storytelling show or a podcast like I'm on right now.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It was a wild one.
So you told the. Oh, okay, gotcha. You just told the same story on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing in your comedy shows though.
No, I mean, I could probably sit down and whittle something down, but
Sure,
you
sure.
know, it's more of like a long form story. You
Yeah,
know,
true.
I could
Yeah.
punch it up. I could use it in a comedy show if I found myself in that situation again,
yeah.
where some guy's being a jackass and I've got to diffuse it, and then in that weird intermediate period when the show is still happening, but it's completely off the rails.
Yeah.
I could go in and be like, this kind of reminds me of that time in Rochester.
Yeah.
I had to bust a 50-year-old man.
It's like the Fargo Dome. If you were on stage during that fight during Theo's
Oh, yeah,
set.
100%. Yes.
Oh, you Aiden.
I got one more question
Okay.
with the rapid fire.
Okay.
How or what percent of a joke is what you're saying versus how you perform that joke or how you deliver that joke?
It's a killer question. For me, I think we were talking about, you know, the difference between like a scientific tactician with the pen.
Yeah.
For me, it would, I think it's way more how I'm telling it.
Sure,
You know,
like how-
and,
yep.
and it's like when you were first starting off in comedy, you would write a joke that you loved and you thought was really funny, and then you'd go up there and perform it and it would fall flat.
Yep.
And you would go, why? I think that this joke is really funny. But, yeah, I mean, you can get away with a lot more on stage with something as simple as like smiling while you say it.
Yeah.
You know, smiling while you say it or pausing at the right time. It's stand up is fascinating just because like if you look, few people's transcript of their act is great. You'd read it and you'd be like, it's a good joke, but you're not sitting there reading it like dying.
Yeah.
You know, you're not like, it's not like a comic book
Yeah,
or something.
100%, yeah.
You know, it's a good question. I would say, I mean, I don't want to cop out and say 50-50, but it's not. It's to me, for my act, I would say probably like 55 performance, how you tell it, 45 how you write it.
Yeah. Sure.
Like the actual bones of it, you
Yeah.
know?
Could see that.
Yeah, because you gotta, if you're like pushing boundaries a little bit, then you really have to pay attention to how you tell it.
Yeah.
Sure.
You can't tell it angry. Like if you're writing about something social or whatever, you can't let people know what your stance on that is too hard.
Sure.
Right.
That's what my critique against like a comedian who is like either super out loud right wing or super out loud left wing, because then you take away like the element of surprise. Mm-hmm. Because that's all a joke is basically a surprise. You're taking someone on a step, on a journey, and then you think that you know what the next line is, and then you pull it, and then you surprise them.
Yeah.
And that's what a laugh is. You go, what? I didn't think that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so if you're like super outspoken about exactly what you believe in, then anything that you start talking about on stage, people kind of go, all right, well, I know where this is going to
Yep,
end.
I can
Because
expect it.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to like contradict himself that much up there, you know?
Do you know who tours with Shane Gillis? Like who is the guys under him would be?
Yeah,
remember.
he's got like a nice little stable of his boys. You got Chris O'Connor, Tommy Pope,
It's
Nate Marshall.
maybe a little bigger. Mark Norman.
Mark
I think it was
Norman.
Mark.
Oh, yeah.
I went to a show in Minneapolis, and this kind of just reminds me of it. I went to Shane's show, and Mark Norman, dude, I'm pretty sure it was Mark. He made so many Jewish jokes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
An
that's
unreal
Mark.
amount of Jewish jokes.
Comedy.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's just a different guy too, but it's like that's his thing. He's unique.
Yes.
He sets himself apart. But like you say, it's like I don't know. That just reminded
Well,
me
you
of
got to
him
be
because-
careful how you
Yes,
say that.
Yes,
100%.
because I could see some people if they were Jewish in there, they could have been really pissed off
Yeah.
from some of the jokes where I am like not affiliated and I think it's funny.
Yes.
So it's like I mean, that's got to be a tough.
You're riding that
balance.
line.
Yeah.
Well, that's
you're really
what's-
riding that line.
That's what's awesome about comedy. It's the good part and the bad part, depending on whichever side you are. And it's like, I'm not of the ilk where I'm just like, suck it, nerds. I don't care if you're offended. Like,
Yeah.
because I don't aim to offend. I don't
Right.
want to offend
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
Ultimately, some joke, any joke, will offend someone, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I take exception to the fact, like, you know, of laughing at other people getting shit on, right? If other things and other people can be the butt of a joke, and then you don't have to like all of them, right?
Yep.
But if you were a Jewish person at that show and you were laughing at the black people joke and the white people joke and the fat people joke, and then that's all good, and then he starts talking about Jewish people, and then
Right.
you get up in a huff and post on Twitter or whatever,
Yep.
then that's lame because it's like,
100%.
Yeah.
hey man, everyone's taking
Yeah.
shots up
Yep.
here, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
100%.
That sounds so much like Mark Norman. That's crazy. He does go in on
Oh,
the
yeah,
Jays, dude.
One last question for you. What advice would you have for someone up and coming in the comedy scene that wants to make it big time?
Man, I would say, first off, sounds corny. Take care of yourself off stage, right? You can't be a good comedian. You can't be a good podcaster if you don't have your shit together at least a little bit, right?
Yep.
Whether that is like a good romantic partner or a good group of friends or faith, you know, or your family or whatever it is. It's like, try to take care of yourself the way that you would try to be just like a good accountant, right?
Sure.
I mean, it's easier said than done, but take care of your head, you know, stay in decent shape, you know, and that's obviously talking about comedians. That's not a ton of them out there, you know, but it would just be, don't get discouraged by the fact that it's going to take a long time, and don't try to rush it.
Yeah.
Don't try to rush it, man, because, you know, now with the internet and everything, you'll see these people really, really just kind of trying to rush it, and they're just like, you know, they're 3 years in, 2 years in, and they're emailing you, seeing if you can help them get a headline gig, and I'm like, nah, man, you know,
Keep
be
grinding.
realistic with yourself. Don't give yourself too much slack, but give yourself plenty of grace, you know?
Yeah.
You can't, like I said earlier, man, you're just towing that line between delusional and like certifiable self-doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. We love it. Awesome.
Yeah, that's great advice. Well, we just want to thank you for coming out today. We had a rough little start to the day getting here.
Speaking of that,
but-
I want to show them quick. Can someone hand a phone? I want to show you the landing on our plane today.
Oh yeah, we had quite the landing.
So we filmed like you know, like I told you, we film a behind the scenes video. So we filmed the takeoff, and then I filmed the landing just on my phone.
Can you connect it, or is that too much? That's probably too much.
Yeah, I'll just play the.
We can
Oh, dude, it's
Turn it
so
up all the way.
post.
funny. I love this.
And now we're in one, and then this
So
happened.
click play, and then if you can like kind of put it in front of the
Yeah.
mic, that would be ideal for the audio. Is it playing? There you go.
Looks like we're coming in kind of hot, no?
No way, dude. That is so funny that you caught on the mic. Are we coming in kind of hot right now? Dude, that is like my worst nightmare.
Looks like we're coming in kind of hot, no?
Boom.
I mean, for real.
Dude, yeah.
That's a hard
I
one.
mean, there's been worse. It's not the worst thing in the
No,
world.
but it did.
But, dude,
It was
people
crazy.
were rattled on the plane.
So did the pilot come in and say,
He didn't
"Oh,
say
sorry about
anything.
that,
He
folks"?
didn't
No,
say anything.
I'm surprised he didn't say anything. 'cause
Yeah.
that
I
was
mean,
like
that is
the-
enough to at least bring it up.
That was the rough.
That's just crazy.
He should at least said something.
You're just gonna act like that didn't happen?
Yeah. I mean, he probably. I think he might
wild.
have stayed in the cockpit after that one. I
Yeah,
don't
he
think
went out there shaking hands.
Hell
No,
no.
no,
There
no.
was no
God.
applause.
And
on
there,
the
yeah,
landing,
no
I'll
one
tell
was
you that.
clapping. So.
That
Okay.
is wild.
One thing we do at the end of our show, I actually don't have them, but we're sponsored by Giant Snacks. There's seeds. Have you had Giant Snacks before? Giant Seeds?
No.
Okay, I'll show you.
Like
We're-
sunflower
they're
seeds?
from
Yeah,
the
I
Midwest.
love seeds,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, huge brand up there, and they're in all the MLB dugouts. But anyways, we got you a pack of seeds. So
No way,
let's
dude.
go, dude.
Oh, I'm a
Ladies
big
and gentlemen-
seed man. Come on, boys.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's freaking Lee Kimbrell. Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you, boys.
Hey, thank you guys for watching the Beyond the Spotlight podcast. Make sure you click subscribe, leave a comment down below, and we'll see you next Monday at 6 p.m. Peace.
This
Peace.
was awesome, man.
Let's go.